This is the Nightwolf howling at you, and today we're going to take a look at the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe He-Man figure, the most powerful man in the universe, part of the cartoon collection. Although this cartoon was actually just called Masters of the Universe, so I don't know why they named it that on the box. But this is of course the 2000X cartoon, and let's take a good look at it. One thing I would like to note is that there's no mini comic with this figure. And that is actually very disappointing because I was looking very much forward to seeing mini comics for this one too. So on the back of this box, we see He-Man, Orko, Battle-Cat, and the Sorceress. And rumor has it, apparently, that Wave 3 or Wave 4 of this line will finally give us an action figure of the 2000 version of the Sorceress. All this says, though, is as seen on the beginning. And you can fit his power sword in his hand. As part of this wave, you have He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe, Stratos, the winged warrior, and Triclops, evil and sees everything. So they're still using the same info as they did on the original Masters of the Universe figures that they've put out. Now let's go ahead and open this sucker up, shall we? Okay, so we have our little informational white sheet that we've gotten with all of the origin style figures, which shows us the removable parts for this He-Man. Wait, it looks like his thighs can remove too. That's interesting. Yeah, look at that. His thighs are designed to remove too. So he's got additional amounts of... How much comes off of this guy? Let's find out real quick. Head pops off. Arm pops off. Hand pops off. That stays in place. Torso pops off. His loincloth pops off, leaving us with a standard Origins loincloth. We already did the leg there, and then, of course, the feet. This is a bit hard on the hands, I'm not going to lie. Now, so it looks like his face is painted and then the hair is added on later. The head sculpt, I don't know. I have to watch the cartoon again to see how accurate that is, but it's not that impressive to me. It's not horrible, it's just not very impressive. His body definitely has a more natural look to it than, say, our usual Origins figures do. It does appear as if he does come with a new version of the Power Sword. Mostly I'm saying that because this handle does not look familiar to me. Although it does not do what the Power Sword did in the original toy or cartoon where the sides slid open when it powers up. However, it really doesn't look too bad either. You'll note he's got two different bracers on here. No paint on them. Belt, loincloth. It looks nice. He's got his little pouch there. The harness will hold the sword. However, what he does not come with is the shield or the axe. Both of which I know for sure he's used the shield in the cartoon. I'm pretty sure he used that axe at least once too. So it's disappointing that we didn't get those, as well as, you know, the missing mini comic. Articulation wise on this guy, head up and down. Spins all around. Can cock it sideways here because it's that ball joint. The arm rotates all around. Spins out. No bicep cut, but this is Origin style. Single joint at the elbow. it looks like we are getting a more slightly higher degree of angle with that. Straightens out pretty decent and is better than 90. Not by much, but still. The waist swivels. Leg kicks up about that far. And kicks back about that far. Let's see how far we can kick out with him, though. We got a good high kick going on. The knee bends. I'd say that's a little over 90 degrees also. The boot cut area does spin. We hinge up and down. It is not as much of an angle as previous ones. And then we can spin it 360. As you may have noticed, some earlier attempts to try to get the sword in his hand, it did not work well. There we go. We seem to be back to this problem, I think, that we had early on with the Masters of the Universe Origins characters, where the... What the hell? Ooh. I totally bent his fingers in. Damn. Okay, never mind. That fits much... When you don't accidentally get the fingers broken into the hand, he does hold the sword pretty well. Again, I'm disappointed there's no mini comic with him. However, in lieu of that, let's go ahead and do some comparisons here. First up, we have the original Origins version of this He-Man. And you can really see the size difference there right off the bat. He's definitely a lot taller. You can see the swords are different, and this sword is longer, so it is a little bit better. I think it's still a little bit shorter than what it should be. Also, we have the original figure from 2000X, which has the problem I always have with some of these figures, is that they are pre-posed and look stupid. Although I guess if we go right to it, I think this is a pretty good update for this figure. However, oddly enough, while he comes with his sword, I don't know where his sword is at. However, this is the axe and the shield that he originally came with. So I don't know why they didn't give us these things with him. They even actually gave those to us with the Origins one. So again, I don't know why they didn't do it this time. Although this was really tiny compared to what he should have had. But wait, there's more. I am bringing out the ThunderCats He-Man crossover figures here. Specifically because I want to compare the two bodies a little bit closer. Because I had originally thought that the ThunderCats and He-Man figures were going to be using the same body parts. And, well, it's actually kind of hard to tell with all this crap on him. So let's strip off the harness here. And let's strip off the harness over here. Which is pegged on. This is interesting, actually. These have a height. Yeah, okay. So looking at this, I would say I was correct. It does appear as if they are using the same buck as the ThunderCats ones. The biceps look like they're probably the same. I think some of the coloring is causing an issue. Obviously, the wrists are a bit different. The hands might actually be different or the same. I can't really tell for sure there. The thigh is the same, as is the upper part of here. The boots, however, are different. And that's where the different height really seems to come in here, is the from the boots. And I'm actually surprised that since we have this like plain bit here, that they didn't just use that as the center of these guys. So one thing to note that I forgot to mention while I was actually doing the articulation is that on his wrists, the right hand has the up and down hinge and the left hand has the in and out hinge. So that allows him to hold his sword aloft to call upon the power of Grayskull. And as you note, while this is spinning around, one, like the original 2000X He-Man is barely articulated and pre-posed. The Origins version that they did, his hand does not have that up and down. So he has to hold his hand more forward to have it up and out a little bit. And of course, the ThunderCats version has the same wrist. So the overall on this guy, I think these figures turned out nice, honestly, the 2000X Cartoon Collection one. I, again, am disappointed that we did not get a shield and axe with him. I'm disappointed that we did not get the mini comic. I did find him in the wild at Walmart, so I actually canceled my pre-order of him from Amazon. And unfortunately, I haven't actually watched an episode of the cartoon recently to see how really accurate he is. But like, I kind of feel like the symbol on his chest is a little too sunken in. Although I am comparing that more to the one on both the Origins one and the original toy release. Also to note, his sword holster on the back is straight up and down, whereupon with the 2000X, and I believe in the cartoon itself, it was angled, so his sword was out to one side, so it would be a somewhat easier draw. Not a great draw, by the way, but somewhat easier. So the question is this figure worth it? And I would say overall, yeah, I think it is pretty much worth it. He was still under $20. I would like to have seen it cheaper than that, but I'm not going to complain too much about that cost. He looks pretty good. They did cheap out on the paint apps on the gauntlets, but that's to be expected. And he is definitely a huge improvement over the Origins version of the 2000X figures. I'm just going to straight on say that now, as you can obviously see in here. Although, again, they pretty much just used a regular He-Man head with a different hairdo for that. But yeah, I like the figures. They look a little bit more naturally shaped. I would say buy them if you find them and want them. I am looking forward to the Sorceress if the rumor is true. I've been wanting a figure of the 2000X Sorceress for a very long time. And again, by figure, I do not mean the stanchion that the Four Horsemen had put out back in 2000s. I mean an actual articulated figure. And if Mondo had announced that right away, with they're doing it like a 6-inch figure line for these guys, I believe too, I probably would have gone ahead and bought that almost instantly. But alas, they have not made any sense with that. So I'm not collecting that line of He-Man figures. It's too expensive, and I don't know if they're going to get to the character I actually want. So F them. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please feel free to power that like button. And if you want to see more of my nonsense in the future, you can certainly subscribe. Thank you for watching. Peace and love.